This Chinese farmer cured my anxiety. There was a Chinese farmer who had a horse. The horse escaped from the farm and ran away. The neighbors went to the farmer and said, that's too bad. And the farmer responds, maybe. Then the horse comes back with 7 more wild horses. And the neighbors come back and say, oh wow, that's so good. The farmer responds, maybe. Then the farmer's son goes and plays with one of those wild horses and breaks his leg. The neighbors come and say, oh my God, that's too bad. The farmer responds, maybe. One day the conscription officers come to the farm and they're looking for soldiers to fight in the army. They go to the farmer and they say, we cannot take your son because he is injured. The neighbors go to the farmer and they say, oh wow, that's so good. You know what the farmer said? Maybe. The moral of the story is that it's impossible to tell whether an event is good or bad. Nature is very complex and we don't know whether a good thing will lead to a bad thing or a bad thing will lead to a good thing. Because you never know the consequence of misfortune and you also don't know the consequences of good fortune. Take one person who lost their job, got dumped by their girlfriend, and didn't get into the right school. Take another person who got into the right school, got the right job, and has a relationship for 3 years. The person who got dumped, lost their job, they accepted their fate and they moved on. The person with a perfect life, his wife ended up cheating on him. He had to sell his house, and that right job he thought he had going into law school resulted in him working 7 days a week at a firm, making him hate his job. The point is, you never know what's going to happen to you, and the Stoics advise us not only to accept our fate, but to love it, which is where the Latin phrase amore fati comes in. Love your fate. Marcus Aurelius says whatever you throw into the fire becomes fuel for the fire. Epictetus, another Stoic philosopher who was crippled because his slave master beat his leg so bad that he couldn't walk properly for the rest of his life, faced adversity after adversity, and this is what he had to say. Do not seek for the things to happen the way you want them to. Rather, wish that what happens happen the way it happens. Then you will be happy. Amore fati is a Stoic mindset for making the best out of whatever happens to your life. Treating each and every moment, no matter how challenging it may be, with acceptance, not avoidance. So just like how oxygen becomes fuel to that fire that Marcus was talking about, obstacles and adversity becomes your fuel for your potential. Think about it like this: you don't have any other option to judge something as good or bad because it's inevitably gonna happen to you whether you like it or not. Nature doesn't give 2 shits about how you feel about an event because it's gonna happen regardless. So I invite all of you to love what is happening to you because nature is taking its process, and in order to be stoic, you have to align yourself with nature. I hope the story of the Chinese farmer helped you detach from good and bad things and just to accept everything the way it's supposed to be. Thank you for listening. Subscribe for more content on Stoicism.